Stephen, I feel really
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
I do love you. Please know that I love you. I didn't mean it from the heart, okay? Please, Stephen.
He's gonna be like, okay, that's okay.
It's alright.
That's alright.
It's alright. Thank you.
Hey guys, what's up? So this is episode 8. I'm very, very excited. This is our first episode with a guest. This is something new. We got Krishn in the house. We got Stephen, who's with the screen recording, and we've got Yuvin. Welcome to the show, Yuvin. He's Krishn's friend. He has his own podcast, and yeah, I'm glad to have an extra member. What's your thoughts, Krishn? This is the first for us.
I know. I'm happy. 8 episodes in, we have a guest. Look at that. Look at us shining, Andy. Look at us shining. So a bit of background. I'll let Yuvin introduce himself as well, but Yuvin also runs his own podcast. For anyone else that's interested, we'll leave all the appropriate links everywhere below, etc. So he has a podcast with 2 of his friends called WTB. But yeah, I'll let him introduce himself. Yuvin, how are you?
Good. Thanks, Andy, for having me on. So yeah, as Andy and Krishn mentioned, we have a podcast as well. It's not as informative as I guess you guys, but a bit more casual. So yeah.
So
that's awesome,
what do you do? What do you do? Tell the people what you do, etc.
So like in terms of what, just
like do you study? Do you go to uni? Are you in school?
So I'm studying at the moment. So I study engineering at the moment, and I'm working part-time as well. So just, I guess, going through the rat race, as you guys would call it.
That's our stick now, Krishn.
Yeah.
That's stuck.
We have too many things that are stuck, and I just don't know if it's good.
So what got you into the podcast space? Like, I think you're like 28, 29, nearly 30 episodes in. How did you get started? Tell us about that, Yuvin, because it's a pretty cool show.
Yeah.
You and your friends, like, how did you guys come together? Tell us the origin story, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've always just been into listening to podcasts, just like on the way to and from uni. I've always just listened to them, just like have them on. It's just like a good way to pass time. And just to listen, just after listening to a lot of them, I just started to think, me and my mates could do this. Like me, Shahan, and the two hosts that we have, apart from me, I'd always just thought that we could do this as well. So I just thought we'd take a crack at it and give it a go. So yeah, that's basically how it started.
So it started off like that. Now, when you continued, did you find any complications that you thought that, this is not going to be as easy as I thought? This isn't all daisy.
Yeah,
100%. I thought it was going to be.
100%. So I guess just like the workings of everything, I probably underestimated the amount of work that actually goes into it. So because we had to learn everything. So we had to learn how to edit. We had to learn how to use all the equipment, and because we were very new to that, and it was definitely a massive learning curve. So as you could probably tell by the sound quality, we were learning as we were going. So episode 30 is definitely a lot better than in terms of quality, audio quality, to episode 1. Yeah, just trying to get better with each episode.
Dude, that's awesome, man. One of the biggest thing that came to my mind was with 3 hosts, and sometimes you would have a 4th guest. How do you guys time who talks and like people not butting in, and like how does that work? Yeah, with like sometimes if you guys had 4 people, how would you guys do it?
I guess because we do meet in person, so it is a bit easier doing that in person. It's just like a free-flowing conversation, so it's just as if you're talking to a mate or so. You're not trying to step on anyone's toes or anything like that. It's just, I guess, natural in that sense. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
I think the thing that they have, Andy, is because they've known each other since like year 7. They've been really good friends since year 7. They actually just don't care if they step in each other's toes either. They just do it anyway. And the personalities that they have, each 3 individuals are such unique personalities, right? Where it comes together quite uniquely, but it's just complete chaos as well. Like it's just who knows?
That's very fair.
So like like
100%.
it happens harmoniously, but they don't like it. It's just natural. You know what I mean? It's just natural. So that's what they're able to achieve, and that's what makes it like it's like a conversational, banterous podcast. Yeah. So I like it. I like it a lot.
That's super good. And I guess, how has the podcast been growing? How did you get it out there from the beginning? Tell us about that. What were you able to learn? Do you have like random listeners now? Yeah, how's it been like?
Yeah, so I guess obviously the way that we marketed it was through social media, just through Instagram mostly. So I think in terms of growth, we're still looking at doing other things to try and get it big and like get it to more people, I guess. It's not one of our main concerns. We are just doing it for fun at the end of the day, but it is definitely something we're looking into. But yeah.
Did you just use social media to grow it, and has it grown over time? And do you have like random listeners that like you just completely don't know?
Yeah. So we've gotten some listeners who we've never even met, and we don't actually have mutual friends with, which still trips me out because I still sometimes forget that people actually listen. For me, it's just like a conversation between two of my mates, and then I just put it out there and forget about it sometimes, and then people will hit me up about it, and I'll be like, oh, well, you actually listening? But yeah, it's pretty funny to me, I guess. But
I guess it's one of those things where like, you know that some people are listening, but you don't realize that, oh, that person's listening, or like, you know, extended people are listening. And it's like, I mean, for us aside, like Andy and I aside, obviously Andy has his own platform and infrastructure, which we're able to upload the podcast onto, which means that his reach is obviously throughout his YouTube channel as well, which means that it's quite, you know, it's a very broad range of people. Whereas obviously you market yourselves on Instagram and you have your page, etc. And, you know, obviously everyone that, you know, follows a page, and then, you know, slowly it's grown a lot so much in such a short amount of time, because you only started in late last year. Oh, it's nearly been a year, dude.
Yeah, we started at the start of this year. So in January this year, we released our first episode. So coming up to a year almost. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Dude, that's insane. Do you know how many concurrent listeners you would get on average each week or each second week?
So in terms of numbers, we average around, I think, 130 streams a week. Wow. So that's I guess on average what we get. But yeah, I guess it does fluctuate with each episode, but that is the average. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
130 is huge. I think you're discounting it a lot. I don't think you understand that 130 is pretty dope.
Yeah, it is a lot of people. I forget
too.
Yeah.
It's like 100 people like listening to like an hour straight. So it's like, I think like one podcast listen is worth like 20 YouTube viewers, or like even like 50 YouTube views. Like it's like that ratio, I reckon. Just because it's just so much more high quality. They're like digesting like a whole 40-minute segment. Yeah. They're getting to really know who you are.
You're actually paying attention as opposed to 100%.
So when you go and film the podcast, do you ever feel like pressure, or like, oh, this topic needs to be interesting so that we're able to engage with our audience and make sure that they're actively listening and not just listening for like 10-20 minutes and turning it off? Like, do you have steps to go towards that, or is it just kind of like, we'll see how we go, fellas, and then just go from there?
It is a bit more casual. So I think the way we determine if something's interesting or not is if we want to talk about it. So if we feel like we have a lot to say about that topic, we kind of know that people will kind of want to hear it. So I guess that's, I think, how we determine that. There's not, I guess, we're not really thinking about, oh, people are going to click off if we talk about this now or anything like that. It's just, if we want to talk about it and we have something to say about something, we'll talk about it.
I like it a lot.
And do you have any tips for like us, for example, like what do you think helped you the most when it came to going from, I guess, 0 to 100 listeners a week? Like, that's crazy. What do you think would be your top tips for like people like us or just like beginners that are listening?
That's a good question. I guess just by listening to what people like and what they don't like. So just listening to the listeners that you have, I guess, if that makes sense. And just
feedback.
Getting as much feedback from 100%. It's just so important just to get that from the people who are actually listening to your podcast and like enjoying what you're doing. I think that's pretty important for sure. But in terms of, I guess, how we got to this stage, I'm not really sure by anymore, so I wouldn't be able to tell specifically how we've been able to do it. But,
Hey, look, I'm here, man. I don't know how I got here. Don't ask me how I got here. I'm just here. I'm chilling. I'm vibing.
Exactly.
No, I love it. All of it. But nah, it's a good podcast. But I think more broadly, I think what I want to ask is to both of you as well. Like, I personally didn't listen to podcasts 2 years ago. I wasn't listening to them actively. You know what I mean? Like, I now have a select few podcasts that I actively listen to. You know what I mean? Like, obviously Joe Rogan's the biggest in the game at the moment. There's heaps of YouTubers that are quickly jumping onto the bandwagon because they see the potential in it, etc. And like you said, Andy, like one podcast view is estimated equivalent to like 20 YouTube views. You know what I mean? So
Even more, maybe like 50.
even more.
Yeah.
So like, what sparked this growth? Like, why are people so interested in podcasts? What do you think, Andy? I'll go to you first. Why do you think people are so intrigued by podcasts?
Dude, so like when you asked me, I was thinking back, and like 2, 3, 4 years ago, like Tim Ferriss podcast was a thing. Like he was like, when you think of podcasts, you think of Tim Ferriss, and I listened to it, and I was like, dude, this is so boring. Like what the like, it's just a guy talking for like 40 minutes. This is so boring. Like I want to go ahead and go back and watch some Logan Paul vlogs that are fast paced and crazy. And then as I grew up, like I'm driving, I'm washing dishes, I can't watch a Logan Paul vlog. Like it's like distasteful. It's like I don't want to watch some crazy action vlog. I want to listen to something that is meaningful. So I think just like coffee, it was like something that I slowly acquired as I grew older and older, and it just became like, this is what I now want to listen to. I now want to go ahead and listen to a mature person talk rather than watching some crazy vlog. So that's my guess. And then I think with the sort of 21st century Gen Z, I don't know, what generation are we? Are we Gen Y, Gen Z?
Who knows?
Gen Z and Y. As we grow older, we're getting past that like 20, 22, 23 threshold where everyone's just transitioning into listening to podcasts, as well as podcasts becoming more popular and everything just like blowing up and bubbling together. That's my hypothesis. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Yuvin?
Yeah. I think it's also the fact that it's so much easier to create content now. So literally, the three of us, we don't have any background in creating any content. We didn't have any background in that before, but we were able to make stuff and upload it, and literally anyone can search that on Spotify or any streaming platform all over the world and listen to that. So that's the big part of it as well. So I guess a lot more people we're interested in are able to make these podcasts as well. So more people are tuning into people that they care about as well. So I think that's a big part of it as well.
I think a culmination of what you both said really rings true in the sense that obviously it's like your taste buds mature over time. As a kid, you probably didn't like this. Well, like as a kid, I didn't like bitter melon. As an adult, I still don't like bitter melon. Okay, that's an exception, right? Do you like avocados?
When I was younger, I didn't, but I grew to like it.
Yeah, same actually. Yeah, I love them now.
I hate avocados.
Vegetables, salad.
Do you like guac though?
Yeah, I do
like guacamole.
Yeah.
That's good.
I feel like if you like guac, you can like avocados. But anyway, keep going.
I see where you're coming from, but to me, they're two different things, buddy. No, so what I was saying is, obviously, it's yeah, like obviously when you grow older, you're more mature and you're more willing to make yourself open to different things, and then engage with it and consume it, and like really take it in. And but what I think it is I think it's quite a unique niche, because podcasts you can play when you don't have the time to actively be like spend all your energy into watching it. So like when you're watching a video, you need to watch the video. Like you can't have any distractions, otherwise you're not going to be able to watch a video. Whereas podcasts, you can go about doing your day-to-day life, you can go on your drive and you can consume the same content in a way that's easier, hassle-free, you know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, I think that's what it is. I think the smarter YouTubers who have started a podcast have seen that there's two different spaces where they can operate in and be able to capitalize on a market which is essentially untouched, because they have the viewing audience and then they have the listening audience, and then it makes more people be engaged into them as content creators. So I think it's really interesting to see the rise of the podcast in the past 5 to 10 years, Andy. 5 to 10 years. But, it is what it is. Yeah.
Dude, on the topic of growth, I think podcast, I don't know how to even say it. Podcast, okay. So, so on the topic of podcast,
I didn't want to stop you, because I just wanted to hear you keep going.
Yeah.
Yes, how many times you'd say that.
When you search Andy Mai on Spotify, only one thing pops up, and it's pretty crazy. Like we're actually really, really early on the curve, because imagine like 10 years ago when you would search, actually even 20, you would have to go back to like 25 years ago when you would search Andy Mai, then there might be one Andy Mai on Facebook. And that was the exact same thing with Instagram. If you search Andy Mai, there would be one, Instagram. But as time went on, if you search Andy Mai, a ton on Facebook. If you search Andy Mai, a ton on Instagram. Remember, Instagram was a professional photography's app. Like it was just for photographers. So if you search your name, you're probably one of the few. Same thing with TikTok, same thing with YouTube. But now on all those platforms, you search your name, it's just like a bunch of random people. If you don't have a big channel. And then on Spotify and on podcasts, like that's the only platform where you could really it's like really, really early on. And I think we're catching the trend very early. And I think it's very underestimated, I reckon. Eventually, my guess is in like 20 years, everyone will have a podcast. Everyone. Like everyone's gonna just do it with their friends, do it with themselves. Dude, I think eventually people would be literally just talking about how their day went for like an hour to decompress, and they'll have all their friends listening it. So like eventually, if you're in a high school, there's probably like 10 popular kids that have podcasts, and everyone just listens to all their friends' podcasts, and they spend remember, eventually we're gonna get to a point where everything is so streamlined, where we don't have to cook, we don't have to freaking brush our teeth, we don't have to shower. Like everything's just gonna be so streamlined. We just have so much extra time on our hands, and with that extra time, we're just gonna be consuming our friends' content in long form. That's my prediction. Clip it.
No, I get what you're trying to say, in the sense that, like, when you produce, say, a podcast, right, you're essentially producing a form of content, right? And like, how do I say this? So, like, say TikTok, for example, right? You have all these different places where you can produce content and film your videos, etc. And like, it's becoming so easy and accessible for everyone. Like, there's no real application or for podcasts per se, so only where people only release. So obviously there's Google Podcasts, and then there's other different avenues where you can stream it, but there's nothing that's just I just contradicted myself, because Google Podcast is just for podcasts, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean, in the sense that there's nothing perfectly just for that, in the sense that it doesn't have its own little bubble where everyone can do it just yet. But I get what you're trying to say, in that in the sense that it's all streamlined everywhere, and eventually it's just gonna continue to grow, and I don't think in 10 to 30 years everyone will have one, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I reckon you're right. There's going to be a social media just for podcasts. It's going to be like YouTube, but something that really accumulates everything with ease. There's like a search function. There's like a follow function. There's going to be something that's just going to be way better than Spotify, Google, or Apple Podcasts. So yeah, I think you're right there.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I don't think I agree with everyone having their podcast like their own podcast though. But I can see your point of point of view there. I think in terms of platform, there is just this. I guess there's so many podcast platforms out there. There probably will be that one that kind of brings everything together and like takes from all of them. So I could definitely see that happening as well.
Yeah, in terms of streamlining, I think what you meant is like everyone has access to it and is able to upload whatever they want, in the sense that with TikTok, for example, everyone has access to it. Everyone's able to just go and post a video or whatever, you know what I mean? So like if there's an actual hub or home for it, like just specifically for it, with everyone having access to it, I get what you mean. Is like what's stopping anyone from just producing their own like short 5 or 10 minute talk and just uploading, even with their friends, you know what I mean? So like where TikTok is viewed as a very social platform where you film videos with your friends and do it, there could be one for podcasts where you like, you know, just have a 10-minute chat with your friends, put it up, and then, you know, you as creators can interact with your viewers and like put up polls and say, what do you guys want us to talk about next week? Obviously you can do that on YouTube, etc. But like just directly for the podcast creators themselves, yeah, I get what you're trying to say in that sense. Yeah.
And now, like thinking about what I said, I think, it doesn't make sense. Not everyone would have a podcast, because with Instagram, everyone has an Instagram account, but not everyone posts like every week. I think podcasts are actually going to be exactly like that, where everyone would have their own podcast account and they might have one or two sort of like snippets talking about their life or introducing themselves. But just like Instagram, Krishn, you might be posting once every 3 months. And I think that's what podcasts might get to. Like people would be posting like voice snippets of how things are going on or what their thoughts are. And obviously they're not going to do it on a weekly basis, just like you guys don't post every week on Instagram. And I think it'll be just the amount of frequency that everyday people post on Instagram.
You know what I just thought of? You know how when people on the weekend, they get a little bit drunk, they get a little bit tipsy, they go on their Instagram or Snapchat stories and post it. Imagine there's a hub of podcasts and people just start recording themselves with their super smashed or super high and just start posting it up.
That's something I'd listen to though. I feel like that would be so good.
Yeah, because it's so unique, right?
I listen to my friend drunk. If for example, if you had like a mutual friend that was drunk, you'd listen to it. Like it makes sense. Like you want to listen to a snippet of your friend being hella drunk just to see what's up.
Yeah, and it'll hit.
Yeah. Dude, so Yuvin, doing the podcast lifestyle, doing uni, doing work, how's everything? How's everything coming together? You're also you're nearly graduating. Life is about to come. The real life is going to come soon. How's everything coming together?
Stop it, Andy. You're going to make Yuvin cry. He's going to leave the room. He's going to...
Yeah, I still got a bit to go till I graduate, but it is slowly coming together, I guess. I guess in terms of balancing everything, it can get a bit difficult. In some weeks we have to take, I guess, a break here and there if all three of us have a lot going on with uni, because we're all still at uni. But yeah, it is just, I guess, about just making time for when you can do it. So we don't have a set day of when we do it. It's just whenever we're available to do it, we just jump on get together and record. Yeah.
What I'm doing is like I was like just guessing the flow. I think right now the flow that me and Krishn are having, we're sort of like taking turns asking questions, or like you jump in here and there. So sometimes I pause and I wait to see if Krishn says anything. If he doesn't, then I say something. But I usually have just like a list of things on my mind, but I don't want to cut him and be like, and then Krishn talks and I'm like, okay, I'll take a step back.
That's usually what happens to us on a week-to-week basis, the way as well. It's like we'll be in a discussion and then one topic will come up and then another will come up and another come up, and then our chain of thoughts will just keep going down, and it's just like, oh, okay, where do we go from here?
Exactly.
I think it's also because you guys are doing this online as well. There's a bit of lag, so like in real time, obviously there's not that lag, so you can just start seeing when someone's talking, so you can just avoid that.
That's true.
I don't know. That's what I found because we were recording online as well, like you guys were during like peak lockdown. But yeah, that was a.
And how was that experience? Was it did you notice everything? Everyone was just trying to cut into everyone's like and then someone would say something and they would just stop talking and everyone's like on top of each other.
Definitely, there was definitely like a lot of like stopping and waiting just because some person would, I guess one of us would start talking and there'd be a bit of lag so we wouldn't realize but it was definitely a cool experience, I guess, just to try that out and figure that out as well. But yeah,
that's cool. One of the topics I had in my mind was like growth. That was something like I've been thinking about a lot, and like I created all these like I just like you know that hangover scene where like the fat dude is just like counting that's how I felt like literally like an hour ago. Like I was like over the last like week actually I'm always in pain. Now let me
this
explain.
world shall know pain.
So not like actual pain. So I feel like every day is just
firstly, guys, everyone, it's a mental health awareness month this month. Andy, are you okay? Are you all good? Everything
okay.
all good?
Thank you for asking,
you're
Krishn.
Good. Yes. How about you, Krishn?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. So it's important, Andy. You know, if you ever in pain, such as this situation, reach out.
And Stephen, are you okay?
Stephen, how are you, my friend?
Okay.
How's Stephen?
Thank you for asking.
Guys, no, on a very serious note, Mental Health Awareness Month. Look out for each other. Look out for everyone, your friends, your family, one another.
Let's actually
Be
talk
there
about
for each
that.
other.
What's your thoughts on mental health, guys?
Well, I'll start. I think it's incredibly important. I think all four of us, I'll include Stephen in this topic of conversation, all four of us come from migrant families and they struggled, you know what I mean? Like they struggled, let's be real, they struggled to get to where they are now. So for them to view mental health as a prominent issue within today's society, I can accept that for older generations from first generation, second generation migrant parents, it's a bit difficult for them to accept that mental health is, you know, like serious, you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, it's hella serious. It affects everyone differently, and it's, you know, it's a cause of many different things, and it's a reaction of many different things as well. And it's so important to be able to be in touch with yourself, in touch with your mental, in touch with your surroundings as well, so that you know when do you need to stop and take a break. Andy, brother, you went through this 2 weeks ago, remember? You didn't realize the amount of pressure and stress that you're putting on yourself, to the fact that it was having an impact on your mental, to the fact that, you know, the wolves and the lions around you're now able to navigate through that, and that's your subconsciously, you didn't even know that it was all affecting your mental health. It's just one of those things that you navigated your way throughout, you know what I mean? So it's incredibly important, and it should be important, and it shouldn't be a thing where, you know, we're only asking each other on mental health awareness day, or are you okay today? Yeah, to be, you know, what's up? You good? You know, but definitely. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Yuvin, what about you?
I think I started just thinking about it more in terms of, I guess, society as a whole, if that makes sense. So we're always taught we need to exercise, we need to be physically fit, but we're never really taught how to be mentally fit, if that makes sense. So it hasn't really been a focus for us. If you really think about it, that's definitely supposed to be the most important thing. We're taught in school, I guess, to exercise. We're taught in school how to do a bunch of stuff, but we're never really taught anything how to, I guess, handle anxiety, how to handle stress, how to handle anything like that. I was just thinking about that recently, and I think it's definitely something that we need to address as a whole, and I guess normalize in a way, because so many people are going through a lot of stuff, right? And it shouldn't be that way. It should be more normal to work on yourself in that sense, I guess. If that makes sense. I'm not too sure if I am, but
good. I totally understand where you're coming from. Thinking about it, like, your mental is like a muscle, your brain is a freaking muscle.
Yeah, exactly.
And the metaphor I have is, you know, when you're working out, the next day your muscles are sore, We are taught and we know that it's sore because the muscles are torn and they're recovering. So we know what's happening. Whereas if you've come home from a long day of work and your brother, sister, or mum or says something and you snap and you're just angry, you don't know why that's happening. The answer is you've been through a long day of work. You've depleted all your dopamine because you've been positive to all your work peers. When you're on the way home on the bus, you literally don't have any dopamine or positive energy left, and you're just depleted of happiness, so that when someone says something, you only have anger to let out because you've been holding that in. So people don't know that. People just I'm angry. People just snap and they don't have a reason why. Whereas when our muscles are torn, we know that it's muscle DOMS. I don't know what that stands for. Krishn, Steven searched it up, DOMS. It's basically it's what happens after you work out when your muscles are torn. And people aren't taught, like you said, Yuvin, about their brain, which is that's true.
At the end of the day, we all just want to be happy, right? And if you really think about it, your mental health is at the core of that, and we're not really taught how to deal with that properly. So that's my point of view, I guess.
I think it starts, obviously education is a big thing, but education on mental health and the cognitive processes of the brain and just normal things, like how you said, Andy, how when you go to work, I actually didn't realize it either. You go to work and you're exuding so much positive energy, or if it's fake positive energy because you just need to get there for 5 hours or 8 hours and just leave. Obviously, whatever it is, you're exuding energy, right? And it takes up a lot because it's from freaking 9 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. right? That's literally, obviously, the whole day, right? So you use so much energy, you're conversating so much, you got meetings, you got calls, you got things to do. Obviously, you can relax yourself if you're lucky enough to be in a working environment where you can, say, listen to music during work or just chill and have minimal talking, etc. But at the same time, you're still seeing the same people every day. You're still talking to the same people every day. And subconsciously, well, not subconsciously, but you don't realize that you're exuding all this energy. And when you get home, you're depleted. You're gone. And I didn't think of that. I didn't think of it that way. And I think that cognitive sort of process behind that, in terms of when you need to be able to relax your brain and not strain too much, and maximize on when you need to maximize the time for using your brain, say cramming or studying. I don't know, I think it's a very interesting thing that's not really taught to us a lot when we're younger as well. We just kind of maybe the curriculum's changed, I don't know, but
I think it is. People just actually don't know, because I think people think depression and mental health is this special case that only certain people go through. Every single human person goes through anger, sadness, embarrassment, guilt. Every human goes through it, and we're not taught all these different emotions. The only reason I'm able to say all these things is because I've tested myself to all the limits and I'm hella self-aware. For example, another thing, people don't know why they can't get work done, or they're not motivated to go to work. And one of the biggest reasons is because they're just constantly highly stimulated. So this is something that I'm a huge believer of. If you're constantly watching YouTube videos, you're constantly stimulated at a level freaking 8. And if you're constantly watching YouTube videos, 8 becomes your new norm. Now, if you literally do nothing and you just sit and you do nothing, that's a level 0 stimulation. Now, when you probably get work done, write an essay, that's better than doing nothing. So the level of stimulation is at 1 or 2. But if your norm is at 8, doing work is at a negative 6. No wonder it becomes not motivating. No wonder you hate getting work done. It's because you're just overstimulated by all these other things. And I think, dude, yesterday, every Sunday, we talked about this on the last episode, I transform into a potato, guys. And Monday mornings are tough because I'm dude, I don't feel like doing anything, because on Sunday, I just numb my brain. It's bad and it's crazy. And I think the reason I do that is because I spend the whole week detoxing. And when Sunday comes, I watch one episode of this new TV show called Succession. And then after that one episode, my brain is just I went from a 1 to an 8. and it's just like my brain goes crazy and it just tells me watch more, and I end up spending the next like 8 hours finishing like one whole season. Now thinking about it, the way I'm explaining it, people just say I binge watched a TV show this weekend. People actually, that's it. That's the extent of their self-awareness. Like I just binge watched this TV series. That's what I did this weekend. They don't know why that happened, why they exhausted on the Monday, or why they felt an urge to binge watch. But yeah, I think mental health is definitely something that will be in the curriculum.
No, I think it definitely should be incorporated more.
Yes, obviously we don't know how it is at the moment, but it's definitely not something that we learnt when we were going through school. And yeah, I guess it's definitely something that needs to change.
We like going back to what we said earlier, as you grow older, you become more self-aware, become more mature, your taste buds evolve. That's a very important one, okay? We need to highlight that. Taste buds evolving is very important, okay? But and then you get in touch with your mental, and so everyone at home listening, don't be down.
And ask a friend, are you okay?
Yeah, it's very important.
I remember going to Parramatta High School and there'll be these people selling these pins, are you okay pins, and they're wearing the yellow shirt. Dude, when I was young, I think just because I was just like less mature, I had no idea what the fuck that meant. And then just like listening to podcasts as I grew older, I started to understand the power of asking someone, are you okay? But like when I was young, dude, I'd be like, I'm not buying a pin that says, are you okay? What the fuck is this? But yeah, as you grow old, it's crazy how everything just changes.
Because you've been through it, dude. Like, you've seen it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you've seen it, you know what I mean? But,
dude, the word, like, you're getting mature, like it's a saying for a reason, yeah. Like, you just literally grow, you're up, yeah.
Yeah, I was quite an immature brat. I don't think I was.
Dude,
when I was what it is.
Young, there was just this girl, she was in a grade above me, and she was like short, and I was just standing outside school, and I was standing next to her, and I don't know why. I think maybe I just wanted attention, I wanted to break the silence, or I just wanted to get, I don't know what, but I was like, I was literally like, why are you so short? Oh my god, and as I was walking away, dude, I'm pretty sure like she was just like trying to hold in tears, and she cried.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know what the was wrong with me back then, but yeah, I just want to be relatable and let everyone know that I was a weird kid, and like I think I just went through what everyone went through, like with like me saying when I would walk past those are you okay pins and not knowing what that is, me saying that, I just want to like let people know that you can change, you can grow, and like there are mistakes that you can literally change from. Like, dude, like I've done so many embarrassing things when I was younger, the list is endless, and like it's alright because like I ended up turning out okay. So if you're this dweeb, don't worry.
Even have you?
Yeah, I
have
think
you,
the
have
most
you,
important thing is that you learnt from them, right? I guess you learnt from everything that you did, and you probably didn't say that again to that girl, I'm sure. And
100%.
You moved on from there. So that
maybe I thought I was trying to be funny. I think maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that was a bad follow-up topic after talking about mental health.
Yeah, guy. It's funny how it's all the same train of thought, just in different branches. I mean, yeah, like I'm a lot more self-aware now as well. I've done said been an absolute idiot when I was young as well, and like you only grow when you're able to get yourself out of certain situations and put yourself in uncharted territories, untapped waters, and really like navigate your way through certain things by yourself as well, and push yourself into areas you don't know that you were wanting to be in or whatnot, etc., etc. Waffle going on. Anyway, Andy, I cut you off so rudely before. I'm very sorry. You said you were talking about growth and how you were in pain. Why was Andy in pain this week?
Alright. Actually, I want to put a pin on that. The thing that I was just going to talk about, it was on the tip of my tongue. What was it? Oh, on the topic of relatability. I think the reason why I really like sharing all these freaking weird, embarrassing moments is because I want to show relatability. Like if someone, like a lot of people, when they see someone like, I don't know, let's say I look at Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm like, dude, like he never had to deal with this and that because he's like this handsome guy that's super charismatic. But if he was like relatable and he would share all his things, it would be like, yeah, I did this embarrassing thing. I actually asked this girl and I got rejected. When you go through that, when you hear that from Leonardo DiCaprio and you just got rejected, you'll be like, if he got rejected and he's Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm fine. And like, that's sort of why I think I go out of my way to like find like and fall and make mistakes. Because for example, let's say someone's new to traveling and they're like, dude, like you can travel because like you're like confident and you never get lost, and like if someone like tries to like steal something from you, you'll beat them up. But if I share stories of me getting lost, of me and being like, but at the same time I've traveled the world, okay, him traveling the world is not something that's impossible. Like yes, but like if he was able to do it despite fucking losing his wallet the first time he traveled or getting lost here and there, I can do it too. So I think relatability is something that's like super important. And like when I realized, like when people say how's your day and you say, hey, it was amazing, things are going well, yes, you're sort of putting positivity into the conversation, but you can't connect to the person. Rather, I like to say, yeah, things haven't been going well, but dude, like this morning, it was so tough to get out of bed. I slept in, but like, dude, I got out of it. You know, yes, I sort of like finally got into a rhythm of things at like 1 p.m, but I got in a solid 5 to 6 hours. I think someone would prefer listening to that versus, dude, today was so productive, I killed it. Even though it sounds positive, the second option, what I said previously, I think that's what really helps and creates connection.
100%. Reliability and authenticity. If you're not authentic, no one's going to pay attention to you, you know what I mean? Like, I think
100%.
Like, yeah, it's just one of those things, like if, especially with this podcast as well, I think a lot of people would say, just for example, both of you have your own podcast. Yuvin, you have your mystery listeners, let's call them, that you don't know. Okay, we're just going to call them mystery listeners. Those people would obviously, because you guys are very authentic on your podcast as well, and you're able to maintain that authenticity through the connection of your friendship between each other, and you know how well you get along, etc. So having that, I think that's like one of the foundation themes of your podcast that enables people to become more engaged. And yeah, it goes without saying, I mean, you'll get more friends if you're just more authentic, or just not even saying that you need to have more friends. It's more so, you know what I mean, that like just become a more likable person if you're just not an asshole, dude. Like 100%. But we'll switch it up. Yuvin, I think you had a few questions. If you did, now is a great time to ask. We are here. Well, Andy's here. I'll spectate.
So I guess a question that we ask our guests whenever we have on someone new, it's I call it the button question. I asked Krishn this button question when he came on. So the question is, if you, you probably had it. So if you had a button.
Why are you laughing at Eddie? Shut up, bro.
I think Krishn said some random answer, and like everyone was questioning it, and everyone was changing the answers. That's what I remember, like becoming invisible or flying or something.
So the question is, if you had a button that can do anything for you, it only affects you. You can only use that button once a day. What does that button do for you, Andy?
Oh, once a day, and it does the same thing every day.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, how you like it now, idiot, bro? How you like it?
Interesting.
Stuff, isn't it?
I'd like a button that can allow me to like
No, no, so
reset.
think very carefully, because it's only you can only use it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the answer is every morning I want to wake up and hit the button, and it's like an instant refresh. No matter if I had 3 hours of sleep, no matter if I'm hungover,
Oh, wow.
no matter if I had a shit day, no matter if I just came off a massive high and I was like had an amazing night the night before, or I had a bunch of wins. It's a reset button that can bring me back to normal no matter what. That's what I'd like. Reset button every day.
That's a great answer. Yeah, that's kind of similar to what I said. So I said I want an energizer button. So whenever I'm like, I guess feeling tired or something, I just press that button and I'll be good to go again. But similar sort of answer.
The first thing that came to mind was like a button that like gives me dopamine. It just like makes me happy. A happiness button. No, that's like actually like a drug.
Yeah, that would be so dangerous, dude. Imagine like hitting it once and you run out and you keep hitting it every couple of times a day. You're like, work, why don't you work, why don't you work?
There's like a test where there was a rat and it had these wires connected to its brain. Yeah, every time it would hit a button, pull a lever or something, it would get a hit of dopamine. As a result, we just spend all day hitting that lever, keep getting those hits of dopamine. It would neglect food, it would neglect sleep, it would neglect like having sex, and as a result, it would just die of exhaustion, which is crazy.
I think the reset button's a very good answer. Actually, that's a very good answer.
Krishn, do you want to give your answer again?
No.
Well, what would your answer be now that you've thought about it?
Now that I've thought about it,
what was Krishn's previous answer for context?
I said teleportation.
I remember that.
So I guess
Where would you teleport to every morning?
Work.
The catch with teleportation is like you use it once, but like how are you gonna get back? So you can't just be like, oh yeah, we're going to
Hawaii.
But like how am I gonna get back? Yeah. But Krishn, now that you've thought about it,
with us, Stephen as well.
Yeah, no, put a pin on me. I want to hear. I want to hear Stephen.
Yes, Stephen, give us.
We should have done Stephen first, but Stephen.
I guess a button that like if anyone comes and asks for me to help, or like just to help in any situation, I press it and then I instantly think of a solution straight away, and then just blow everyone's mind. Yeah.
You're doing it for egotistical purposes.
I feel like there's a deep underlying insecurity with that answer.
But the thing is, like,
it started off so helpful.
You can only use it once a day.
Blow their mind.
Yeah. So like, you give someone the best advice they've ever given you, like you've ever given.
Yeah, I think Stephen wants to truly help people.
It's like doesn't get the same answer.
Oh.
No, but that's still a good answer. That's still a great answer.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, just want to be able to help people in a way.
Krishn, your reaction was so mean.
No. No, it was such a good answer until Stephen said to blow their minds. I'm like, Stephen, I'm not having a go at you. You know, I love you. It was just too. It was just too.
That's okay.
Guys, I don't bully Stephen. I like Stephen.
He's never met the guy.
The way he answered that question. Come on, Stephen. Even you gotta admit that was pretty funny. Okay, he's blocked me off Skype. So continuing. What would I do with a button? Dude, my answer. Everyone's given such sophisticated answers, and it's like, even Steven's is really good, and then Andy's is good. Dude, I actually. I'm stuck. I might have to stick with teleportation because I don't have anything else.
Krishn, you do this a lot.
Yeah,
Krishn, you do this a lot.
I know. Stephen, you can laugh at me. I'm sorry. Mine's a lot worse than yours. Sorry, Stephen.
Maybe we should ask our viewers what they would do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jump in the comments below.
Let us know down in the comments.
That's a good suggestion, Stephen.
Yeah.
Good suggestion. You can ask the question, do the honors and ask the question again.
So if you had a button that could do anything, you can only use it once a day though, and it only affects you, what does that button do for you?
Drop it in the comments below.
Comment down below.
Curious to hear everyone answers.
And that they will. Yeah. Look, the thing is, I remember thinking about this on the bus the other day when I was listening to one of your episodes, recent ones we had another guest on, and she gave a great answer. And I'm thinking like, oh damn, and I thought of a good one, and I was like, I'm gonna message Yuvin when I get home. I'm like, no, this is my new answer. Little did I know he's gonna spin this on me as a guest on our podcast, and now I'm stuck. No, I don't know what to do. But I'm bummed out. I have no clue.
No, it's okay. If you think of something better, you can just always come back on or redeem yourself.
Yes, come back on and I'll have that question ready.
Exactly.
Are there any other questions which you would like to ask us?
Yes. So question for Andy again. Sorry, Krishn. So I guess being an entrepreneur, you deal with, I guess you'd have to have dealt with a lot of doubt starting off. So what was the point where you knew you could do this? So was there a moment where, I guess, you realized, oh, this is something I can do as my main sort of thing? And like, how did that come about? How was that process for you?
Got it. So when I first got started, my biggest fear was having to re-enroll, go back to university, and have everyone, in my mind, I thought everyone would be thinking, this guy went on a gap year, he tried to become an entrepreneur, make money, and he failed and he's back to uni. That was sort of my biggest fear when I first took the gap year. And over time, that fear just got smaller and smaller. And I think the moment when it sort of disappeared was when I was able to confidently say to myself and know that in whatever situation, I'll be able to easily make at least $50,000 a year and be able to be stable. That's sort of when everything sort of got near zero. It was not that I had a job that was able, or had a business that was able to make that much money. It was that I had the skill sets to make that. When I evolved to a point where I've gained enough knowledge and skill sets where I can make $50,000 a year, even if everything was taken away from me today, that's sort of when that fear sort of turned off. And it was probably around the point where I started growing my personal brand. I started doing consulting on YouTube. I started growing my consulting business. I was sort of doing a few e-commerce things on the side when I sort of was more diversified and had a few different things, and I wasn't just relying completely on drop shipping. That's sort of when that all sort of clicked in. So yeah, great question, Yuvin.
Yeah, I guess from going on from there, so what was the moment where you decided, okay, I'm going to take a gap year, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take that leap? What was there a moment where you realized that you wanted to do that, or was there anything that pushed you to that decision? Or
yeah, so at the end, during first year university, roughly semester 2, I started dabbling in, drop shipping, e-commerce, selling things from AliExpress. And when the first year uni actually, second semester, first year finished, during that 6-week summer break, no, not even 6 weeks, it was like uni breaks are usually like 3 months or something. During that 3-month uni break, I literally did nothing but try to figure out dropshipping. Like everyone was playing games, everyone was going out, and I was just like stuck at home trying to figure it out. And I told myself, like, eventually, like at first I was just trying to figure it out to make money. Then as I got more and more into entrepreneurship, I was like, I need to figure this out because like maybe I can make a career out of it. To like, do I need to figure this out so I could take a gap year and try to figure out more? And when I got to that conclusion, I was like, if I can get to a point where I'm making like, I don't know, $500 in sales per day, I think that was the goal, I'm going to take a gap year. and literally I would work my ass off, and like there was sitting like 2-3 a.m. nights, just grinding it out, working, confused, stressed, worried, and literally 1 week before second year uni started, when I already started logging in my subjects, I started picking my timetable, I found a freaking winning product, and like I scaled it up, and it was making like $500 a day. I was like, and I was already telling my mum for that month, Mum, if I make $500 a day, I'm gonna take gap year. Mum, and I said that every single day, and she was like, yeah, whatever. Like if you do it, like she didn't believe me. And literally when that happened, I was like, one, I already knew that she's gonna have to say yes because I've repeated it for the last 30 days. Two, I've hit the goal, and three, I could take a risk-free gap year, which is like basically risk-free because if it doesn't work out, I could just come back to uni. So that's sort of when it all clicked. Nothing clicked then. It was just like that was the pivoting moment. Actually, nothing clicked. Yeah. And nothing still has. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out now. Like nothing has clicked. Things like click on a smaller scale. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think during uni you have the opportunity to be able to trial and error by having the opportunity to defer and take a gap year. So yeah, very good.
Exactly. I was very lucky to have that opportunity. But yeah, I think university was cool. Downside was like I missed out the whole, first, second year lifestyle. I had a bit of it in the first year. I sort of didn't see anyone after first year university. I became like a hermit. I started hanging out with the older people. So I do miss like all that like college, like first year, second year, freaking, raving, clubbing, VSA lifestyle. But it turned out all right. And obviously like it's never too late to do all those things, but I think I've just like, another thing is like I've grown past those things where I don't find pleasure in doing those activities, but I'm glad I had like first year uni. Like first year uni I was able to like really try everything and like get the 80-20 of it, where like first year uni I was able to experience most of it, and second year uni you sort of taste a gist of it and things start to get serious at the end of the year. So I didn't miss out too much, looking at the bigger picture as a whole. And even if I take a look back when I'm 80 or like 50, that regret is going to seem so tiny. It's not going to even matter.
Okay, so is there anything that you want to achieve in your life that would allow you to say that you were successful? So is there one goal that you want to strive to that would allow you to be, yes, I've made it. I can die happy, essentially.
Yeah. So like,
is there one goal for you guys?
So that's like the question that we talked about on the podcast. Is like, before, like, if you could live for eternity, what would make you think the life? Yeah. Got you.
Yeah,
so like, Steven, you got the question right?
I guess with me, it's that I pay back my parents for all that they've done, and that as they grow older, I just want them to chill, and then I just take care of them. And just knowing that they're proud of me is, I guess all that I want to like die, like knowing happy that I finally achieved the goal.
Yeah.
Steven, quick games.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Great answer. Definitely. I think for us with immigrant parents, it's like it's never something we can actually repay them fully. Like as hard as you can try to do that, it's never gonna equate to how much they've done for us. And like I feel like it's like a goal that we should all be trying to achieve, but something that we probably won't be able to.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with like the unknown, not unknown, but the small things that we just take for granted.
We don't see. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, you come home after school or, after uni, or, they'd be working all day and they still come home and like, what the previous day you would just about finish your favorite cereal or bread, and then next day you come home from school or whatever, or like, you go downstairs for dinner and then it's replenished all of a sudden. There's small things that you just don't realize that they remember what all your favorite food and drinks and everything are, etc. Small things go a long way.
100%.
Andy, I'll let you go second.
Oh, yeah. So my answer is, if I die knowing that I gave it 100% every day, every week, every month, every year. If I literally like gave it my all, my whole life, I'd be really satisfied when I die. Obviously, every day there's ups and downs. There'll be days where you literally have to take the whole day off because you're just like exhausted. Or there'll be weeks where you have to take the whole weeks off. Or there'll be months where you'll have to take the whole month off. But on a bigger picture, if I gave it 100% every single day on a micro and macro scale, I'll die very satisfied.
I like that term.
That's a good one, yeah. I guess I'll go next and I'll leave you for last, Yuvin. Mine's like, from my perspective, like, don't take this the wrong way, etc. Right? But like, you know how Bill Gates achieved everything he could possibly do. Oh wait, is that an orange juice bottle?
Yeah.
I read it. Mine would be that. You know how Bill Gates, he achieved everything he could possibly do with Microsoft. He set it up to such an amazing level and then left, you know, with his head held high, right? And then now he's doing work as a philanthropist and trying to improve the quality of life for those in unprivileged areas, etc. I want to be able to be in that position where after, like, you know, I've set myself up and got something self-sustainable, a self-sustainable sort of business or like a lifestyle, in the sense that I know that there's passive income or just anything, right? I've just set myself up. I want to be able to like do something similar where I can, you know, sort of work towards giving back or like helping in any way I possibly can, whether it's something small or, you know, working in a larger charitable organization or a non-profit, etc. I think that'd be quite fulfilling. Something I definitely want to do in terms of improving the quality of life for someone else that hasn't had the same privilege and opportunity as I have in this country, etc., in third world countries. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know how or when I'll be able to achieve that, but, or if even, but, you know, it's something that I will want to strive towards.
Definitely, yeah. I think I kind of have a similar sort of answer to that. So I would want to be able to create a situation where it would live me. So something where I could, I guess something that I would be able to give back in a way that obviously lives beyond me and will continue to benefit people without me, I guess, running that, if that makes sense. That would be the ultimate dream. I think that would definitely be my answer for that.
Yeah, 100%. I think we all have a background in wanting to help people, in the sense that the jobs that, obviously, Andy, what you do, Yuvin, what you do, Stephen, what you want to do, etc., and like me as well, just passion, just genuinely wanting to like help people and go about it. Like, even when I was at the call center in what Yuvin's job is right now, like knowing that, you know, obviously you have your rough days, but it's the one out of 100 days, knowing that you've genuinely helped someone, like it's a feeling that that's a bit different, eh? Like, it's different, as I say, it's different. It's different. I think Stephen takes a cake on that one. Stephen.
That was a great answer, yeah.
That was an amazing answer.
Thank you.
You guys, I'm leaving an Easter egg. One last thing. I heard, Stephen can confirm, that Stephen in his spare time goes to like retirement homes and helps old people.
Oh wow.
Stephen, is that true?
Or something like
Yes.
I want to give you a hug.
I haven't done it in a while, but yeah.
I mean, that's fair because of COVID, but that's still amazing.
that. When I was introed Stephen,
That's
Stephen was
actually
like,
amazing.
this kid, he's like, you know, he's a bit alright, but you know what? He helps old people. That's how I was introed to him. He's a bit like, but he helps old people, and he's a really sweet, kind-hearted guy.
Thank you, Andy. I
That was
appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, I was a bit confused. I was like, what? Like a kid helping old people? But yeah, Stephen helps old people.
The elderly. Big up,
Elderly.
Stephen. Big up, Stephen.
Yeah.
That's
No,
something you
that's
should be
mad,
happy
that's
with. Yeah, something you should be happy with. And I think that's a perfect way to end episode 8. We've had a good hour-long conversation. We ended on wholesome vibes. It was a very good talk. I appreciate you coming on, Yuvin. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's been stretched up for a little bit longer than maybe you would have liked it.
This was fun. This was fun. It felt like 20 minutes to me, honestly. This was a good time.
So,
Yeah, so Andy, I'll leave it to you.
thank you for joining. I'm glad that you had fun. One, I want to say thank you for a shout out you sort of gave us on episode 28 or 27. Please shout out your channel. Tell everyone where they can find you, what your podcast is. Please give us the details for people who want to listen more.
Like, obviously, we'll include all the relevant links to your Spotify, etc. But just your personal and the podcast name, etc.
Yeah. Well, first I want to thank you guys for having me on. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Krishn and Stephen. This was so fun. We'd love to have all of you on our podcast as well. So we'll hopefully organize that sometime soon.
I'm thinking Stephen has a guest.
So in terms of we'll bring a laptop for Stephen. Hold it back up to that laptop.
Stephen will come as like literally the laptop person. That's him as a guest.
We need a Stephen. We honestly need a Stephen.
Yeah, I'm down to try that. I love to be in your podcast.
That was so good. But yeah, in terms of finding our podcast, just search WTB on Spotify, on just any major streaming platforms. You should be able to find it. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's with.the.boys with a triple Z at Gmail at Instagram. And if you want to,
You're so used to playing.
sorry, it's a habit. It's a habit. Yeah. So we get our listeners to email us. So our email is with.boys.
That's dope.
Sorry, with the.
Do you guys get a lot of emails from like strangers?
Yeah. So someone like signed us up to Pornhub. So it's a little investment. It's pretty funny.
That's amazing, dude. I can't believe you guys got like random cult listeners. That's so cool.
Yeah. So if you want to send us an email, send us an email at with.the.boys with the triple Z at gmail.com. That's what I do when I'm bored. I just read the emails and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, keep me entertained.
Instagram, what's the Instagram at, so that they can keep up to date with your posts, etc.
Instagram is just the same, with.the.boys with the triple Z. So yeah, if you want to give that a follow, that'd be cool as well. We don't post much, but when we do, I feel like it's pretty good.
Nice.
And I'll make sure Yuvin's personal Instagram gets put in the edit as well.
100%.
Thank you so much for coming on. Episode 8's finished. Episode 8's done and dusted. Thank you, Yuvin, so much for coming on. Andy, episode 8 done.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate everyone from listening.
Thank you so much.
Listening. When I first saw WT Boys, I thought it was like what the boys. I don't know. That's what like what the I was like what the boys.
It could be that as well.
But yeah, this was a great episode. Really flowed really well, like really nice. I think the slow finding nice rhythm where it's like a good amount of energy. We're not like too extrovert, not too introvert. It's like a good balance where we just sustainably talk for a long period of time. I think we're figuring this shit out, Krishn. I'm very excited.
I am as well. Your mic just stuffed up, so I'll leave it there. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Appreciate your time, and see you next week.